was about the dialogue and how Han Solo was going to drop off in like an asteroid or something, and the dialogue that Luke Skywalker was supposed to say was like made sense to the movie, but didn't sound like other people, like anyone actually talked.
Yeah.
So anyway. All right. Is it time, Chris?
I don't know.
It is. Hey, everybody, this is Matt, and we're at Texas Toast Guitars at the secret underground bunker in the underground bunker in the secret location in northern Colorado. And I'm tired. This is not as bad as it could have been. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we've done like back-to-back workshops before. This one isn't too bad.
There was a weekend in between.
Yeah.
Which eased up on it. Yeah. Now this one goes in through the weekend.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
So one of the things that we did early last year was we scheduled the first workshop of the year with Dylan. And at that time, all of our workshops kind of felt the last week of the month.
Yeah, they kind of, for whatever reason, worked out better towards the end of the month. And then when we started scheduling for the new year's stuff, for some reason you're like, it's looking more like the beginning of the month. Why is that? Well, it just looks, holidays and this and that, and people's availability and stuff like that. So, okay, great.
Yeah, so it looks, because in November, the last week of the month usually has Thanksgiving. Christmas is usually the last week of December. So the whole idea is let's squooch everything to the first week of the month. And there's probably something that we dick up then, but it doesn't
but
matter,
anyway, so the March one was scheduled for the end of the month from last year.
Yeah.
And then the April one was scheduled for the first of the month, and we forgot about the last of the month one.
Yeah.
And we found out the week before.
Yeah.
Oh, we have two classes back to back again. Something we said we would never do again. Something we would take great pains to never do. And we did it again immediately.
Yeah. But so the guys this week are doing a great job, and they're building. This is the woodwork. This is the second to last woodworking workshop.
Let's talk about that, because there's been some
consternation.
Correct. Okay. No.
Constipation?
I went fine this morning.
Okay. Totally regular.
What does that mean? It doesn't mean we're not going to do classes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It means we're not doing the woodworking intensive class where we give you 5 pieces of wood and a truss rod and say, go build a guitar.
Yeah.
There's one more of those, and
that's
all that means.
It's sold out.
Yeah, and it's sold out.
If you're lucky enough to be in that one, you're in it. And if not, and you missed it, well, then you missed it. So.
Yep. And so we're not doing any more of those, but what we are going to do.
Well, but the reason that we're not going to do those is because there are 2 guys who are leaving here with just hunks of wood that are shaped like guitars.
Right.
There's 3 guys who are leaving here with painted hunks of wood that look like guitars. But nobody's leaving here with a guitar that's strung up they can play and enjoy immediately.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of work that goes into that as well. Yeah. So our goal is to do classes where you leave with a finished guitar at the end of the week. And to be able to do that,
this is going to be really good.
That was coffee, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it had layered Hamilton secret sauce in it. Coconut.
That's going to make it better?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
So we're taking away some of the woodworking stuff and giving you some assembly stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's good to go.
Yeah. How was it?
It's just fine. Hey, speaking of things that are cool, today is Joy's birthday. Does everyone know that it's Joy's birthday today?
I did.
So if you take what is it? Okay, so everybody join me in wishing Joy a happy birthday.
On the count of 3.
And where you can sing whatever you want to do. You could write out a singing thing in the comment section, but it's Joy's birthday today. So happy birthday to Joy.
21 years young.
Joy took pictures of the white Esquire guitar that we built with Dylan last week, and that's on the website right now. So if anybody is interested in that guitar and we're like, well, how do I get it? You go to the website right now and you can just buy it. It's ready to go as is. Okay. And it's even on sale. It's got Dylan pickup in it. Comes with a case, everything you need, nothing you don't, ready to rock. So yeah. All right. Chris, I got a text message on Sunday from Phil McKnight.
Oh yeah?
Yes, I did. Now,
this last Sunday?
Last Sunday.
Okay. On Easter's?
On Easter's, yeah. That's right. So and I had a moment to chat with him for just a moment. He's
so
a busy
45 minutes?
No. It was just text stuff.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. It wasn't a standard Phil McKnight 2-hour talk session.
But so he's like, hey, I made a new video and it was called overpriced. These guitars are overpriced or something like that.
Yeah. Tired of overpriced guitars.
And let's take a super chat from Steve, who says, happy birthday, Joy. Thank you so much, Steve. So these guitars are overpriced, and it was what was it, like a clip of his
it was video? A clip of his long video. You know, he has a second channel, Philip McKnight 2, that he does shorter segments of his marathon 2-hour show.
It's not Phil McKnight 2 Electric Boogaloo.
It should be. Yeah. Tombstone 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's shorter segments of his extra long one.
Yeah. So if you just want to watch the part where he talks about
the one idea. So so somebody during the long one said there was somebody that said Texas Toast guitars are overpriced Les Pauls.
That person is probably a miserable turd.
And then there was another person that said something about just overpriced guitars in general. I think. So Phil talked a little bit about that. The neat thing that he does though is he edits in some stuff. Like people weren't sure what Texas Toast guitars cost, and he looked it up. And,
okay.
So that's in there now. There was a segment where he says, as it turns out, this guitar actually starts at $12.99.
Yeah. So he said it was like 15 or something.
Yeah, he said it was 15, but there were comments in the chat, and they were like, those guitars $2,700, and
I'm happy to make you a $2,700
if you want, but anyway, it was a really good video, and he brought up some really interesting points. And one of them was that there are factories overseas that will not let him come and see how they make the guitars or who makes the guitars, even if he pays for it on his own dime to get over there. And he's like, that's one of the neat things about people like Texas Toast is you can see it. You can go and build your own, using a lot of the same techniques in that.
There's a bunch of guys in the shop right now that are doing it themselves.
Yeah. And then he said, I wonder how many people think those guitars are overpriced. If they took a class, what would they think after they took that class?
Hard to say.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody says, they're overpriced.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not doing this full time.
Paul Hall, who we haven't heard from for a while.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, Paul. We have, but
I follow Paul on Facebook. He is a man of action.
He is a man of action.
He's like kind of James Bond.
He is kind of James Bond. Yeah. But with fancier socks.
Yeah. Fancier socks. Yeah. Yeah,
and he says,
and less gadgets.
He says, get yourself a drink, Joy. Oh, God bless you, Paul. So you guys might notice there's actually a guitar missing because I think someone who watches Phil McKnight, who lives in Sweden, bought it.
Oh yeah.
Poof, it's gone.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Need to get back to work.
I know, right? Well, we've been
can't have these classes every week.
But so I have been talking with a bunch of people. Like Wayne, for example, came in. He's like, "Hey, check out was it Manhattan Guitars or what's the Mill Street Music? What more time? Mass Street Music in Lawrence, Kansas."
Okay.
It's like they got that. So I was checking them out. And they have like your brands like that you know of, and then they have some guys who I've never heard of. So I checked them out, and I'm like, well, I've never heard of this outfit, which doesn't mean anything. It just means that except I don't know about them.
Yeah.
3,900, $4,000. I looked at Moncton. I got a guitar from, or I got an email from Moncton Guitars today.
And here,
right here, like 5 miles that way. I'm like, I wonder what they have there. I went to their website. Some guitar brands that I know of, some I don't know of. Looked at the ones I had no idea who it was. $1,799, $2,300, $3,000. So the price of a guitar and the value is that's a tricky thing to say. This has the same value as I don't know. Does this Texas Toast have the same exact value as a Gibson Les Paul? I think that was what Phil was trying to answer. So because that person whose internet handle is miserable turd said that it's just an overpriced Les Paul. Actually, I think it's got a lot more going for it than a Les Paul, and it's got a lot of differences.
Yeah.
But however, one thing that it doesn't have that a Les Paul has is the word Gibson on it. Now, to people who are very brand myopic, or people who are kind of new to this whole game, the thing that says Gibson on it has more value because they don't know. Or their favorite guy plays that or something. So generally, like a young person, no 17-year-old player buys a guitar from us or any of those brands you've never heard of. If money were no object, they're going to buy Fender, Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, et cetera, et cetera. They're not going to buy a Cower. They're not going to buy a Collings. They're not going to buy a unpronounceable thing. They're not going to buy a Texas Toast guitar because they haven't been around long enough to get the idea that that's a known thing. And after a while, you start to go, wow, everybody's got one of those. Wow, everybody's got a Strat. Wow, Paul Reed Smiths are everywhere. You can go to any Guitar Center and buy these things. The exclusivity of what companies like ours do has a value to people who've been around for a while. You know what I'm saying? So if you are if you've played guitars or been around guitars long enough and you're like, I've had all these things that I've always loved. What else you got? Boom. That's where we come in. You know what I mean? And I want to tell you guys about a way that is, I'm guaranteeing your Texas Toast guitar will double in value or more once this event happens.
Well, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Once I'm dead, your guitars are going to skyrocket. And I want you to know something. I'm dying. I mean, in that we all
really
are.
Should have been the title of this video.
Dying.
I'm dying,
yeah.
and soon the guitars will be worth more money.
Actually, Chris, I am living my best
Scotty
life right
Kilmer.
now.
Yeah.
Okay. But the simple fact of the matter is that it's once you're born, if depending on what philosophical standpoint you have, once you're born, you kind of start dying.
Well, I think certainly at this point in our lives,
I have a lot more in the rear view than I do in the windshield. So I'm hoping
it's a downward journey from here, downhill journey from here.
However, you and I have been building guitars for a long, long time. I think you and I have like combined more than 50 years of guitar building. That's pretty remarkable. You know?
Yeah.
So I think we have some techniques down that we have some models that we're really fond of. And I'm very, very proud of all the guitars that we build. However, everybody's website says the best darn guitars you can buy. Hey, it's so-and-so guitar. We make the best thing you've never heard of. I'm going to double down. These guitars are going to be worth bucks as soon as I'm dead. Okay? Let's take a super chat from Tony Alfano,
just you, not me,
who says, "Happy birthday, Joy." Yeah, well, I'm
going to die and everybody's going to go,
I don't, you do you. I don't, yeah. I mean, yeah. So
was he the loud one?
Yeah.
No, I don't care.
Okay. Yeah. So let's see what's going on in the comments section. Is miserable turd not ironically named? I have no idea, SS.
Yeah, we don't know.
Chris Hendricks says nature exists in only 2 states, growing and dying. Just keep growing. Paul Hall says you better keep alive long enough for me to come over and make myself another beast. Joy says thank you to Tony. Brian Mills says, well said, Chris. I have no idea what particular thing he's talking about, but good on you.
I don't know. I say a lot of smart stuff that you might miss.
It is undoubtedly. Sean Emenheiser asks a question. He says, let's say the McKnight effect gains traction. Do you have plans to scale, or you just start sleeping at the shop? Sean, that's a great question. One thing that I can tell you is I thought about this over the weekend and early this week, and the simple fact of the matter is that everything that I have wanted to do, I'm doing.
Okay.
I mean, look around. It's like, okay, you and I have been
including 2 chicks at once. Oh, that's my deal.
That's your deal. Yeah. So, but no, I mean, like as far as okay, as far as the shop goes, there's nothing that we're doing that wasn't part of the grand plan.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I remember when you and I sat here or I remember before we had the shop. Man, sure would be great to have a shop one day. Well, okay, here we are.
Yeah, we didn't sit here because this is the underground bunker.
Oh, okay, but go with me here, okay? Sure would be great to move over into that space. Okay, we did.
Yeah.
Sure would be great to only make challengers. We're mostly doing that. Sure would be great to have that icon. Sure would be great to sell stuff for more. Sure would be great to have classes. Sure would be great to yada, yada, yada. So every single thing that we said sure would be great to do, we have figured out a way to do it. Now, at some point, Sean, I think I have looked at it and said, I have never said, man, you know what would be great is if we could sell hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of guitars every year thanks to Phil McKnight. I'm not suggesting that that's the Phil McKnight effect, but there's no plan to scale as of right now.
Yeah.
But there's also no like big goal to do that. Now, Chris, I think that if you and I have a goal I think maybe we need to actually come up with a goal.
Yeah.
Here's what the goal is, because every time we have a goal, we get it. Every time we make a plan, we work the plan, it succeeds. So
yeah, I think if you're not growing, you're dying. But I also think there's such a thing as growing too fast, which I don't want to do. I think there is difficulty in workforce. One of the things that we have talked about quite a bit is the idea of having other people make our guitars overseas, and that's something we never want to do.
Yeah. So, and we have achieved that goal.
Well, yeah, 100%. So, but a lot of people, that might be something that they would look into is go, oh,
I was talking
could have
to
somebody else in Korea make my stuff and do a really good job of it. I don't think it's the same. I think the brand, at least for us, our brand, what we bring to this game we call guitar building is not that.
I was talking with Chris from Oakland today, and I was telling him that he said, "Is this how you make all your necks?" We were working on the Deadhead sander. By the way, thank you, Doug, for a drink for joy. God bless you, sir.
From Doug S.
Santaniello. Yeah.
Hey, Doug.
Well, there's lots of Doug S's, right? There's Doug Seidlitz. There's Doug
right.
Santaniello. There's anyway.
Except
Slacker D.
Yeah, Slacker D.
Anyway, so we were working on the Deadhead sander, and Chris asked me, "Is this how you make your necks?" And I'm like, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, this is how we make all our necks, except for the ones that Steve makes for us." Now, we've been very transparent about this. We have 2 models that are made in conjunction with Steve's great big CNC machine at Maximum Guitar Works. Never hid that from anybody. Some people are like, "Oh, those guys are hiding that." No, if you go to our website, it tells you that we do.
Says right on the one of the
says
first,
right on
not
it.
the first sentence says that. And people think that stuff comes off the CNC ready to screw together or glue together or whatever, and that's absolutely not true.
But what I did tell him though was we kind of did it wrong. We outsourced to the United States.
Yeah. Well, and in some ways, we outsourced to somebody more expensive than us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
what did you say about that, Chris? That was ethically superior? Yeah,
I knew I liked that Chris
yeah,
guy.
yeah. Let's take a quick super chat from BGM, Brad Guitar Miller, who says, the Just Another Overpriced LP video stirred up a lot of clowns. My TTG Challenger 3 is better than my LP. Happy birthday. Thank you, Brad. I I don't know. I didn't look at I was watching it on television, so I didn't see the comment section. Is there a bunch of jamokes on the?
It's funny reading, because like you read the comments here, and it's people that like us and have been here, and so it's mostly complimentary. You watch somebody else's video, and it's all of their followers and their stuff. And I really like Phil McKnight, but there's a bunch of squirrels that watch his videos,
We do
and
pretty well
he has a
on
huge
most of his
page.
comment
So,
section.
well, actually we do, but it's funny reading what people think, and in a lot of ways, I wonder if they actually really think the things that they say,
I think
or
they're
if
really
they're
tough on
just
the internet, right?
just being contrary to be contrary.
Do you think their moms know they're on the computer?
I think there's a lot of orange dicks in Phil's comment section.
I think there are a lot of guys in the basement eating Cheetos. We're not going to say that there's a lot of guys in that comment section in the basement eating Cheetos, just jerking off.
Not.
And, we're not going to say
we would
that.
never once
Never going to
imply that they are in the basement eating Cheetos, jerking off.
We're not going to say that.
No.
Okay. Okay. Seal Beach Mike says the new challengers and icons are 100% on brand for Texas Toast Guitars. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Dastardly Dave says keyboard warriors. Yeah, the internet commandos are super cool guys. We love them all.
It's whatever. It's fun. One thing that all this Phil McKnight stuff has done, for me, I mean, we've gotten some really great feedback from him and a few other people, and we've gotten a lot of really great defense of our stuff on his page, which is nice. From the people that are friends of Texas Toast and
people that we don't
Texas Toast.
Like I say, a guy from Sweden just bought a guitar.
And that's cool. So seeing our family, our tribe, our whatever you want to call it, come to our defense. Not that we need somebody to come to our defense, but to speak up.
Sure.
Is pretty cool.
It is cool.
So yeah,
it's super cool.
I like that.
So Chris, I'm going to challenge you and I to come up with a what's the next thing that we want to do? I don't even know. I mean, but I do know this. Everything you and I have set out to do up to this point, we have done. And don't say get $1 million. Okay, yeah. You know what I mean. Let's come up with a goal
big things, and sit around and talk about stuff and go. I'll bet you someday we mostly build challenge. Isn't that the goal?
And that's
the goal. Okay, here we are. So that's really cool.
Let's talk a little bit about what it's like to be involved in a hobby or a discipline or something that you're in, whatever you're into. If you're in it for a little while, how your tastes kind of mature. So I was talking to Wayne today, and I said, I buy the weirdest stuff now, and most of the stuff that I buy is books that I will never read.
Really?
I don't know why. So so I was telling him I was watching a mini series about this World War II thing, and I'm like, oh, this is a true story. I need to get the book. No intention of reading it, but now I have the book that goes with the TV show I watched. And so I buy the weirdest stuff, and I love this weird stuff. I love it. Okay. I actually bought another book today.
Okay.
Because and usually what happens is my people on like Facebook or something, or like a YouTube video, I see something, I'm like, oh man, I got to get that book. And a guy that I worked for many years ago was talking about a book that he actually did the editing on. It was originally in Spanish, and it's been translated to English, and it was all about Cuba. I'm like, I better get that book. You know how many there were? One. and it was like close to $40. But I'm like, man, I can afford a $40, but it's goofy. I'm like, why do I have that? Why do I need that? But here I am. So I think that guitars are the same kind of way. Like, I don't need the thing that I thought was cool when I was in high school, because that's
Right.
going on 35 years ago. I don't wait. Yeah, that's going on 35 years ago. I'm kind of over that. I'm ready for something that I think is cool just because I think it's cool, not because everybody in my grade 11 says I need to get that, or whatever it is. Let's take a super chat from Dan, who says, "Love the guitars for sex. Laughed my balls off."
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing that's going around, you guys. Thank you, Dan. That was a funny one. Did you hear that one?
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because you said it in here first, and then you went out and made the video.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I see a lot of people that are still living in 1984
Okay.
in
Like
in my
Crackle paint
world.
jobs and
Well, and
Floyd.
yeah, and
Oh.
just not only with guitars, but with everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Facebook has decided that because whatever, I should be into vintage BMX bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, yeah, that stuff's cool. But I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that guys get weird about now wasn't a thing in 1985 or 1984.
Hey, I
And
got a
it's
question for you.
a
How many
little
Evil
bit annoying.
Knievel Action Man toys you got?
Well, probably four,
Yeah.
but I don't, one thing, I think I probably only have three left now because I wrecked a couple.
Okay.
Those are fun, and it's fun to play with them, but I'm not out, trying to set world records and be
Yeah.
really squirrely and tell people that you're doing it wrong and all this kind of stuff. But it in some ways it sort of wrecks some of my memories of stuff like
Yeah.
that with all the weirdness that people put into it. And it's
Yeah.
like, nobody did that to a bike back in 1982.
Sometimes a little bit of nostalgia is perfect. Sometimes what you want though is the thing that nobody else has, or the exclusive deal, or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. So do I appreciate guys that are into that stuff? Sure. Do I like seeing it? Sure. Do I want a bunch of it?
Yeah.
No, I don't want any of it. So
Rick says, I think your next goal should be full on Lutherie apprenticeship. Sign me up. That sounds like fun.
does that mean they come in and sand for free?
I think that's what it means.
Okay.
Dale,
And then they pay for the stuff they wreck,
yeah, I don't think that's
which is a real thing.
Dale asks the question. I think he's a little upset that we haven't answered it yet, because some people are like, put a bunch of question marks on the thing. Dale asks, I have a question. I made a couple necks with 4 millimeter, whatever that is, titanium welding rods for truss rod, but haven't fretted them yet. You guys have any experience on what the sound like?
But haven't fretted them yet? Okay.
Well, Dale,
I
are
have
you
no idea.
okay? Here's my question: do you just have rods in there
Titanium
that are just
nuts?
there?
Are they round?
Yeah, I don't.
Titanium's
They're
super
4 millimeter. So
4 millimeter, that's
um,
less than an eighth of an inch.
yeah, I would say, man, if you're using any kind of rod that has an active component to it, in that if you turn a screw or twist something or manipulate it in some way, and it bows,
Mm-hmm.
that'll probably be fine. If it's just this piece of metal in the neck, it's probably not going to do very much.
It probably isn't. It's amazing how much wood can influence all of that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, whether it's a regular truss rod, which is no flimsy piece of metal, or whatever. Yeah, you really need to
Yeah.
you need to have something that's adjustable, you know,
Mm-hmm.
hoping
Or
that,
so stiff that it
good
just
Lord,
will not move.
that's a whole lot of stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
so little string
hoping,
tension that it
yeah,
doesn't
that
do
that
anything.
could be a thing too. Yeah, but hoping that your wood and whatever metal you put in there is going to do it is
Yeah. So there's a lot of questions coming in, Chris. Many of them are super chats. 3J Music says, just wanted to say thanks for the awesome guitar I received last week, the Smokestack Double. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Cool. Yeah,
thank you very much, sir. Trevor Williams says, everyone who ever did anything great like y'all was critiqued at do you think Trevor ever said y'all? I think he did, because he did a lot of work in Texas. So like y'all was critiqued at some point by people with their own agenda. My bet is on TTG, not the keyboard warrior. Oh, bless you, Trevor. That's very kind of you.
Yeah, Paul, Trevor was one that came to our defense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He absolutely
riot
was.
act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul wants to know when the calendar for workshops will be up for 2025.
That's like 2 years away, bro.
Dang. I don't know, Paul. It's only April.
Except we should probably start thinking about it.
Yeah, I guess we should.
And then get to it in 5 months.
Here's a question for you, Chris. Rusty Shackelford asks, can I get a gloss finish on a level 2?
No.
Why not?
No, is that the right answer? Is that the wrong answer?
No, I mean that's a perfectly acceptable answer.
Yes, but you can get that. It's going to cost more money.
Yeah.
I'm slowly coming around to the idea that I don't really like gloss finishes.
I don't. I love the 73.
Yeah, I like the 73. I think
that's why everything
it's the right way to go. Yeah. Gloss finishes are a whole lot more work.
If you're willing to pay for it,
yeah.
How about this? If you're willing to pay for it, we're willing to do it.
Yep.
The line of people that says, wouldn't that be cool, is a lot longer than the line of people that says, here's my money to do it. Now, I'm not saying that, Rusty, I'm not saying your money's not any good. What I am saying is that if you want it, it's going to cost more.
Yeah.
And give me a call and I'll tell you how much it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Oh, crap. Dylan sent us a super chat. He says, stay tuned to your product and brand. No SE Texas Toast. That's absolutely right, sir. It's the same reason we don't have CNC winders. Nobody can say I have a real TT guitar or a Dylan pickup. They're all real. Yeah. Okay. So Dylan's spot on. I remember that there was a time when owning a Gibson used to mean something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
in some ways it does still.
In some ways it does still.
I mean, they're still all made here.
But some Gibsons mean more than others.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? So hey, everybody, check out my Les Paul. Well, that's a studio.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, or that's
my melody.
That in my mind, and I've made videos about this. Gibson should make like 3 guitars.
Mm-hmm.
They should all be like 12 grand. They should make the Les Paul, the SG, and the 335, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they should all be handmade, and they should all be the best possible guitar thing. Now, there's a good reason I'm not the CEO of Gibson.
Yeah.
Because if I was, that would be my big plan. Not because I think that not because I'm trying to run Gibson into the ground, though that would probably happen. What I would try to do, though, is try to make Gibson actually mean something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here.
This is actually a really good conversation. Keep going.
Okay. Case in point, when I bought my very, very first Paul Reed Smith, like I've said it before to everybody here, I had to drive 8 hours to get it. You couldn't just go to Guitar Center and buy it. You couldn't go to Guitar Center in Amarillo, Texas, because there wasn't one then. And I had to drive to Dallas to get it. It was a bigger deal to get it. And having a Paul Reed Smith used to mean something. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything now, but it doesn't mean the same thing. You know what I mean? It's a known quantity now. But I guarantee you what it does. Here's the conversation that, hey, Chris, check out my new Paul Reed Smith I just got. What's the first thing you're going to say?
Is it American?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Is it an American one, or is it one of those ones made in wherever?
Yeah.
So yeah, owning the real deal used to mean something. And I think that's been cheapened. But now I'm not suggesting that there's a lot of stuff that's not the real deal that I own. I don't.
I think you have to pick and choose, right?
Yeah.
This is something that Phil actually talked in his video, and that he liked that the level 1 was basically the same guitar hardware wise as the level 2.
It absolutely
and
is.
that we didn't cheapen on that guitar to try and make it fit a price point, I think is ultimately what he was saying.
Well, you grab that white Limba guitar right there behind you. I want to drive this point home. So I'm holding our level 1 guitar. Chris is holding our level 2 guitar. The price difference on these is there's like what $500 difference between the two of them.
Okay.
Right around there. Okay. They both they both have a solid body carved top with a set maple neck. They both have Hipshot bridge and tuners. They both have volume tone with CTS pots and switchcraft switch. And this, I think that one has Dylan pickups and this one doesn't. But the necks are identical. They're all made by Steve. The bodies are carved top. This one happens to be mahogany. That one happens to be white Limba. But you could get this one in just with more finish. They're the same guitar, except this has more finish on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it comes
finish.
down
It's got a different peg head treatment, which takes a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Doesn't change the overall performance of the guitar.
The necks are identical in every way.
Yeah.
I hand fret the necks and I do the treatment on the side. Everything I do on this one, I do on that one.
And in the world of Gibson, they have had guitars that you're like, I can't believe they're making this.
There were some real hunks of shit.
This is all the cheapest Chinese hardware you can possibly round up with as little work everywhere else. And that does cheapen that brand.
Now don't put that away. Remember I was telling you I was talking to Wayne today?
Uh-huh.
All right. Here's what I was talking. He's like, man, I sure do like that guitar.
Uh-huh.
So I said, I went over to Wayne's bench and I wrote a number down on his full-size drawing.
You slid it across the table?
No, I wrote it on his full-size drawing.
Oh, okay.
So it's there still.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, Wayne, this number is a price that I'm giving you. It's good until tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you're having trouble rationalizing whether or not this guitar is overpriced, okay?
Uh-huh.
I want to tell you something about it.
Uh-huh.
The number that I wrote on Wayne's full-size drawing
Uh-huh.
is, I would imagine there's somebody out there who spends that much money every day on cocaine. Okay?
But it's not Wayne.
It's not Wayne. I don't think it's Wayne.
I don't think it's Wayne either.
Here's the thing. If you spend that much money on this guitar one time, you still have the guitar tomorrow.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, you don't, it doesn't go up your nose. So some people have, whatever amount of money it is, cocaine habit every day. Not Wayne. Chris might, but anyway, So here's the thing. So imagine this: you get to keep the guitar.
Yeah.
Having a guitar habit is way better than having that kind of coke habit. I'm just saying, don't do drugs. Okay. All right. Let's see what the comment section is all about.
Can I put it away now?
Yeah, you can put it away now. I'm pretty sure Wayne's going to buy that one. Paul wants to know if I buy the same fabric as Levi or Wrangler and make myself a better fitting pair of jeans, but without the tags, which is best? Am I making them to be seen or worn? The same is true of a guitar. That's absolutely true, Paul. Dirty Knob says that he hasn't been around since the garage days. Does that mean that he hasn't been to videos since we were in the garage, or he just started watching us now? I guess
I recognize that name.
There you go. Okay, I think I do too.
Yeah.
We
went from the garage to an underground bunker.
That's right.
You missed a whole bunch of
Dale says that he knows people who have a cocaine habit that's that much.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Mike says, hey, cool, I like that justification. Mike, let me know if you need a receipt that reflects that to show to you.
I decided that I could buy 15 guitars a month instead of cocaine
and
if I had
still come out
that kind of habit.
Yeah, you could buy,
and every once in a while I might buy maybe 10 guitars a year or 10 guitars a month and buy some really, really nice guitars that month.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? It would just be like, oh, here's another guitar. Oh, here's another guitar. Every 2 days you get another guitar. It'd be sweet.
SS wants to know something about cocaine. I don't really know. I don't know. I'm terrified of pretty much everything that's bad for you. So yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I think that's going to be my new thing. When people say your guitars are overpriced, I'm going to say, well, how much cocaine did you do today? That's overpriced. Yeah. You could still have
my favorite
and I'm going to be dead one
on one of the Phil videos was some dude says, I'm 69 years old and I've never once been able to afford a guitar that cost me more than $350. That sentence implies that he's bought more than one guitar that cost him $350.
Okay.
How many guitars or less? Yeah. How many guitars does he own?
I don't know.
I don't know either. And he more than one. That sentence proves that it's more than one.
Well, that he's bought more than maybe he's selling them.
Well, correct.
We don't know.
But
probably,
you're allowed to save money and not just let it burn a hole in your pocket that day. I got $350. I'm going to go buy a guitar.
Better run out.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, you're allowed to, put it in savings, put it in sock drawer, bury it in the backyard, whatever you do to save money. Give it to don't give it to your wife. Whatever. And the next thing you know, oh, maybe I have another 350. Maybe I have another 350. And then now I have $1,100. Is that right? I think so.
Yeah.
1,150, 1,200. I don't know. I'm not good at math. But the point is, if you want, that's a cop out. If you want a good guitar, you can probably figure out how to do it, right? And it's not instant gratification. It's going to take a little bit of work to save the money or do whatever. But what kind of car do you drive? What kind of car does a guy that can't afford more than a $350 guitar?
I'm glad you asked that question.
$2,500 '98 Buick.
Most people don't. Not you, but most people use somebody else's money to buy a car.
Well,
or a house or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you do it right, you can get an interest rate that's really super low. In fact, really, really smart people say, this is not just me talking in my dumb cocaine thing. This is a lot of smart people actually say this. Use somebody else's money if you can.
Yeah.
Right. So we're set up on the website right now. You can go through a firm and you can finance one of our guitars. And it's like you can get it for like, I don't know, $75 a month or whatever it is. And hey, Wayne, what's your cocaine habit a day? Is it less than $75? You should talk. Is it more than that? A month. Yeah. So if you have a cocaine habit,
a day, man. Can't buy cocaine for $250 a day.
So anyway, you can have a really super cool Texas Toast guitars for one-time payment of less than some people spend on cocaine in one day, or considerably less than some people spend on cocaine every day if you use a firm. And it's right there. All you got to do is go to the website and blink, and like you find out immediately. It's like they're a top tier lender, so you could you can use their money to it costs you just a few more bucks, and you can have the guitar right away. Boom, it's done. It's almost too easy. So yeah, so for those people who are like, I can't afford it, finance it. I don't know. I mean, we try to make it as easy as humanly possible for someone to get one of our guitars.
Yeah.
And so this whole thing about overpriced or whatever, those people are obviously 13, do way too much, do far too many illicit drugs, or have really bad credit. I don't know. But yeah, it's easy to buy a Texas Toast guitars. And it's fun. And professional musicians the world over say how good they are, including Chris from Oakland, California.
Yep.
Yeah. He was beside himself when he was playing one.
He said, all of these guitars play really great.
He couldn't believe it.
And I said, yeah, whatever. And then I found out, he makes his living doing this. And then all of a sudden I was impressed.
Oh, that,
I was like, oh, well, thanks a whole heap. So
okay. Tony Leonardi just sent us $9.99. Hey Tony, by the way, I shipped your guitar to Dylan on Monday. So
it actually left Tuesday. He's gonna have it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Dylan has that, and he's gonna do some kind of cool custom-y thing for Daryl says the Sunburst Challenger behind Chris's head is so striking. That's a level 3, and that thing is bad.
That's one of them that I can't figure out why I can't figure out which way to move.
Not that way. Keep going. Or keep going. Keep going. Keep going. That's the one. Yeah, keep going. Yeah, keep going. Dirty Knob says Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Thank you. You got the reference. How many watts of thigh slapping nuclear brain damage was in the movie? It doesn't matter. Okay. Chris Hendrickson sent us a super chat. He says, to Chris's point, I've been putting $100 in the envelope which said Challenger, and now I have an L2 on order. Now that envelope says Icon. Ooh, cool. Hey, what's up with Chris's Challenger?
It's all painted, and it's going to be among the first that gets assembled once we are done with classes.
Yeah.
During assembly time, which is coming up pretty soon.
Yeah. Rob Shog says, better to buy a good guitar than a bunch of knockoffs that will eventually be sold or thrown away. I guarantee the guitar Matt's building will punch way above its weight class against the big 3. Oh, thank you so much. We do try to punch up.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we don't like Fender, Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, but
and that's the thing is, when we sat down and said, okay, let's make a more affordable Challenger, how do we do that? The phrase "let's not skimp on hardware" came up more than once.
Yeah.
And that's a real thing. And so, yeah.
It became evident that we needed to be able to make a lot of them. So we went to Steve at Maximum Guitar Works and said, Steve, here's what we want. But they need to be slightly different from, so this one here is a level 3. This one's all handmade by us.
Mm-hmm.
So the neck is slightly different. It has a volute. It has wood binding. Everything about it is very similar to the level 1 and level 2, except this one is all handmade. Oh, this one is all weight relieved, and it was done all by us using old school tools. Now Steve could make these for us, but as of right now, we want to. Actually, Steve can't make all of that stuff for us. We cannot get the volute right on. If you buy a guitar from us that has a Steve neck, it doesn't have a volute, which I don't have a problem with. I think it looks cool. You know what I mean? I think it's just fine. But that's really how you know. Okay. So anyway, now everything else is still done by hand. It's not like, okay, Steve makes the body and we put a volute on there. But that's the dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Is if the guitar has a volute. So okay. Dan says that he was never a fan of blue guitars, but the Blueberry Burst is awesome.
Is that that was the one that we did last week?
Maybe. Yeah.
Charlie's guitar.
Yeah.
That one turned out really, really cool. Mm-hmm. I think you might see another blue guitar on Sunday.
Somebody having a blue guitar. Cool. Mm-hmm. Grudgemeyer asked, volute hard to CNC mount? No, it's not. It's just, okay, so here's the thing. We've had Steve attempt to do some volutes for us, and we didn't like them. And then he tried another one, and we weren't really happy with it. And then he tried another one. And
we're volute snobs.
Yeah.
We'll go to a guitar show and look at guitars and go,
yeah.
Ugh. And I think we both agree on what a good one is and what a bad one is.
Yeah.
And I would rather not. I love volutes. I would rather not have one than have one that I'm not 100% happy with.
Yeah.
And
but the thing is that every time we do one, it costs us money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we're like, well, what's the point of adding a volute to the Steve necks if they're already good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And plus, it's like, okay, when we make a neck, it'll have. Sometimes actually, we'll make necks and they won't have volutes.
We
generally speaking,
yeah, rarely. Just because I think it's a classy thing to do.
Yeah. Dale has another question. He says, I salvaged a load of 100-year walnut the other day. Is it worth making a neck from this stuff? provided it's dry and stable and not all full of cracks, I would say, yeah.
Yeah,
why not?
We've made several necks out of walnut, and they were really, really cool.
I actually like walnut a lot.
It's a neat wood. But the wood has to be right.
And it's also not 1974. I think that if you're making a guitar for you, yeah, man, use whatever wood you want. Use walnut or cherry or bingo. But generally speaking, there's a handful of guitar woods that guitar buyers are interested in, and they are in no particular order: mahogany, maple, ash, alder, rosewood, ebony, maybe another one or two. Oh, white limba.
Yeah. Every time you use the traditional woods, everything seems to go fairly smoothly. If you start venturing outside of that, things start changing. Not to mean that none of those woods are good, but unless you use a lot of it, different woods have different characteristics, and you have to get used to those characteristics.
Yeah.
Cutting fret slots this week, I got to cut 3 different kinds of woods, and they all 3 cut completely different.
They smoke different.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you have to kind of have your game with different woods, and I think that's one of the reasons that the ease of manufacture with the classic woods, it's the same every time, and they're all very similar. So
yeah.
Gil
Martin says, longtime listener, first time caller. Hi, Gil. Thanks for joining us. Paul Hall, who knows a little bit about gun stocks, says that walnut is traditional for gun stocks. So it has the same strength, but you need to get well seasoned with straight grain where it counts. Especially for a gun stock, because it's got that like little kind of dip thing. So exactly right. Dale says smoke differently, huh? And then laughs. Yeah, because the saw that we have, it's such a fine blade, 22,000s. It doesn't cut so much as it burns its way through the wood sometimes. And it does it. It
seems
smokes.
To. It's amazing. And the funny thing is woods that you would think are harder machine really nice, and woods that you would think are softer sometimes don't.
Yeah.
So,
hey, you know how many people are watching right now, Chris?
No.
115.
Wow, that's pretty good, actually.
I don't know what happened. There was a couple of weeks where we just like maybe, I'm not gonna say attendance, but like views were kind of tanking, and then maybe we brought it back. We brought it back home, Chris.
Maybe with our witty banter.
Yeah, that's right.
Forte.
That's right.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
and cool T-shirts.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job. I have the same T-shirt on. I've worn this shirt a lot. Yeah, people have seen this one.
I got this monkey shirt on. How many people have this shirt now? There's a handful that got monkey T-shirts.
I have a new Texas T-shirt.
Yeah,
Texas Toast T-shirt.
Yeah,
I think I might have gained. Brian Duncan made me gain too much weight last week and this week to wear that new T-shirt.
I love Brian Duncan so much, and those donuts were so good. And I hate Brian Duncan so much, and I hate those donuts.
Breakfast burritos.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh wow, you waited an hour. You can have a donut." Thanks, Brian. Also, he makes me stay late and drink beer.
But no, this is not a trunk monkey shirt. This is a new shirt that's kind of exclusive to our loaded package. It says "Shut Up and Play." It's got a monkey going like this, and it's actually Joy took inspiration from the old Zorlak double cut. If you know what that is, then you know what that is. A T-shirt design that I loved as a young man. So anyway, what was I going to say, Chris? I think that so it's Joy's birthday. I'm going to take Joy for some dinner tonight somewhere. We don't know where we're going yet. I don't. Maybe
BK
Joy does.
Steakhouse.
Maybe the BK Steakhouse.
Nice.
Yeah.
BK Lounge, baby.
Right. So choice. It is so excellent.
I'd take her to that French joint, Burger King. that one's classic.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick has a question. Rick, who was here last week.
Oh yeah, cool.
Okay. Rick wants to know, this is a great question. Is it worth the effort to practice carving tops on carving tops or dummy necks on a cheap wood, or does the wood just behave differently? Okay.
That's a good question.
No. It depends on how you're carving them, Rick. If you're using hand tools, I would say use maple, but don't use the good maple. You can obviously don't buy figured wood. Okay. Especially for carved tops. Get soft maple, but don't get figured, and it's not particularly expensive. Okay. I think like soft maple here in our neck of the woods in Colorado is like maybe $9 a board foot, something like that.
Yeah.
Get some of that and practice on. If you want to make a neck out of a 2x4, I think that's okay. Or something like that. Get something strong and stable.
Mhm.
Don't go to Home Depot and buy a 2x4 because they're usually super wet.
Yeah.
You know.
One wood that I think gets overlooked a lot for things like this, kind of test things like this, is poplar.
You got that right.
Poplar, it's softer than maple, but it's fairly consistent like maple, if that makes any sense. Ash is horrible.
Yeah, don't use ash or oak.
Don't use anything that's got a lot of dark grain.
Yeah, so like soft grain, hard grain, heartwood,
and because it's really, really hard. And you would think it would be backwards. You'd think, well, hard maple, that's got to be way harder to do, right? But it's not, because
it's a fairly consistent wood. So like Rob found out today that everybody else was using mahogany for necks. Happy meal for everybody shaping necks with mahogany. You go to shape a maple neck. Oh, this is
Well, yeah, that, but like, if you're doing carved tops, at least the wood is consistent. It's really hard to make ash flat on a curve, or a curve that doesn't have a bunch of dips and doodles in it.
So some people are, like American Beach is good. It is. Like I said, I don't think that soft,
your clearer woods, maybe.
I don't think that soft maple is any less expensive or any more expensive than beech or cherry or alder or
and I mean, there's a chance you might actually want to use poplar in something. How many guitars have we made out of cherry?
One.
Yeah,
it's right here, and I built it in. Well, I kind of built it, and Bruce Clay mostly built it in 1992. It's a great guitar.
I would use stuff. The other thing is even if you're not planning on selling it, using odd woods sometimes makes it hard to later on. People are unsure of, especially neck woods. I mean, you could glue some cherry wings on or something.
And I don't think that if you build a guitar, well, if you carve a top out of maple, it's going to be the same as carving a top out of maple. If you carve a top out of insert name of wood here, it's going to be it's going to be kind of similar, but some not similar as carving a top out of maple when you want to. So anyway, gang, well, it's about time for us to call it a day. And I want you guys to go and check out Dylan at Dylan Talks Tone, and he and his lovely wife Leslie will be taking you for another at least hour or 2 hours of guitar chatting and talking about pens and guns and all the other stuff Dylan's into. And I think that if you play your cards right, even if you don't, you probably hear about Dylan's new laser.
Oh yeah, he got a he is a man of action. And new laser.
I don't know if there's gonna be a reveal tomorrow, but I think so, Dan. So anyway, guys, so go check out Dylan. There's some videos of us all last week that Dylan's been posting that are very cool, including us doing some squirrel evacuation.
I wish Dylan was here to film the second squirrel.
We had 2 squirrels.
We had 2 squirrels.
Yep.
Yeah.
So thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. Remember, I'm going to be dead one day, so buy a guitar and don't do cocaine. You can buy a lot more guitars if you do that.
Guitars if you don't do coke.
That's right. Okay.
Or buy coke. You can do it, but let somebody else buy it.
Whatever. Yeah. Okay. Hang out. No, don't do that stuff. Okay. Have a good night, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow for some reveal of some kind.
Sure.